Welcome to Dive Zone, your space to go deeper into English, one episode at a time. If you're enjoying the journey, make sure to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a deep dive into language learning.
Okay, think about that one thing you've been, meaning to do. The one that feels really important deep down. But like every time you think about actually doing it, there's this hesitation, this little bit of anxiety, maybe even, real fear.
Oh, absolutely. That space where what you want meets that feeling of, oh, maybe I can't. It's super common.
Exactly. And that's really what we're digging into today. We're going deep into the ideas in Do It Scared to unpack that exact feeling.
Yeah, the goal is to understand why we feel held back.
Right.
And then, crucially, how to actually move forward anyway.
Right. Even with the fear still kind of buzzing around, there's some really rich stuff here for anyone who's ever felt stuck like that.
And one of the first really interesting ideas is how it asks us to think about fear itself, not as, something to just get rid of.
Okay, yeah, tell me more. Fear as information, not just a barrier.
Exactly. So the idea isn't about becoming fearless before you act. It suggests fear actually pops up precisely because something matters to you.
Ah, okay. So it's like a flag, your brain saying, hey, pay attention, this is new territory.
Pretty much. You're moving into the unknown, and that's where growth tends to happen. Think about those aha moments people chase.
Right.
They often come right after you push past that uncomfortable feeling, that fear. It means your subconscious sees potential for a real shift.
That really clicks. And the book uses examples we can all relate to, like starting a new job or saying, I love you, public speaking.
Yeah, even moving house, things where anxiety is pretty much expected.
But the key takeaway isn't that brave people don't feel that anxiety.
No, not at all. Bravery, in this view, is deciding that something that your dream, your peace, that future you want, is just more important than the fear. It's a choice about priority.
I love the analogy it uses. Let fear sit in the passenger seat. It's there. Maybe it's chattering away nervously, but it doesn't get to drive the car. You're still deciding the direction.
That really nails it. Acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Sure, let it dictate your life.
Yeah.
That's the trap.
Okay, so then the focus shifts a bit to something really stark. You only get one life.
Oof. Yeah, that hits home. It's simple, but it carries a lot of weight, doesn't it?
It does, because we often act like we've got endless retries, endless time to, eventually get around to the important stuff.
And that procrastination, it directly clashes with that desire many listeners have to learn quickly and really grasp things.
Yeah.
Waiting for the right time just means missed chances.
Yeah, time just keeps rolling. And the material talks about looking back later in life, right?
Right, and how it's rarely the things you didn't do, the risks you avoided that you remember with pride. It's the things you tried.
Even the failures, they become stories, proof you actually, lived.
Exactly. And thinking about potential regret down the line, that can be a surprisingly strong push. The material asks, point blank, what are you putting off right now?
Yeah.
What part of yourself are you hiding because you're scared? Tough questions.
It really is a call to action. That project on the shelf, that conversation, that leap. It's saying, now is the time you actually have.
Which flows right into the next big idea.
Yeah.
This myth of ever feeling totally ready.
Oh, yeah. The waiting game. I'll do it when I feel 100% prepared.
But the perspective here is, well, that moment probably never arrives. There's always another excuse, another reason to delay the discomfort.
And the longer you wait for ready, the more you lose that initial spark, right? That momentum, your belief in yourself starts to wobble.
Exactly. It's the opposite of feeling capable. And what's really interesting is the idea that confidence doesn't come before the action.
It comes from the action.
Often, yeah. It's the doing it, not the endless planning, that builds that self-belief. But okay, isn't there a risk of jumping in unprepared?
That's a fair point. I think the distinction it makes is between necessary prep and using prep as a hiding place.
Ah, okay. Preparation versus procrastination.
Right. Gather what you need, sure. But don't get stuck there. And the text is blunt. Successful people start scared. Ready is often just a comforting lie.
So the advice is more like, embrace doing it messy.
Yeah. Do it scared. Fumble a bit. Look silly, maybe. Be imperfect. Every master was once a beginner, right?
That's a good way to put it. They just kept showing up, even with the fear.
And you don't need anyone else's okay to start either. That's another big point. Permission is internal.
This one feels really important, especially if you feel pressure from say, family or what society expects.
Right. The idea is you don't need their stamp of approval to chase what feels right for you.
Because waiting for that, it means you're kind of living out their idea of your life, not your own.
It's your life. You're the one at the wheel, ultimately.
So it's really urging you, start the thing, write the page, make the call, launch the site, whatever that little voice keeps whispering.
Act on it, even if you're shaking a bit.
Which leads to this idea of the magic is in the doing.
Right. Thinking about it, planning it. Not enough. Action is the catalyst.
Yeah. Fear is often loudest right before you take that first step. But the moment you act, even in a small way, something shifts.
You prove to yourself you can. It's like the power dynamic changes.
Exactly. And we often think we need to feel brave first, then act.
But it's the other way around.
Often, yeah.
Yeah.
Bravery comes after you act scared. You start small, maybe you stumble, but you survive it, and the fear gets quieter.
And even if it doesn't turn out perfectly, just trying is a win, isn't it? Moving past that inertia.
That's a huge part of it, breaking the pattern of inaction.
Okay, now let's flip the perspective. We're so good at imagining what could go wrong.
Oh, yeah. Default setting for many of us.
But the material poses this simple, powerful question. What if it works out?
Actively challenging that negative bias. Instead of just the pitfalls, what about the potential positives?
What if you get the job? What if they say yes? What if your thing actually helps someone?
Fear is a fantastic storyteller. Very dramatic. Loves painting worst-case scenarios.
But they're just stories, right? Not the guaranteed future. Why do our brains latch onto the negative so much? Is it just survival instinct?
That's likely a big part of it, yeah. Risk aversion is baked in. Protect the status quo. But for growth, for achieving things, that instinct can hold us back way too much.
So consciously asking, what if it goes right, helps counterbalance that. It reminds you courage often leads to feeling proud, feeling alive, even if the outcome isn't flawless.
It just opens up the possibility space, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Instead of only seeing the downsides.
Okay, and then there's the trap of waiting for the perfect moment. You know, when things calm down, when I have more money.
Yeah, when does that ever happen? Life is always, always something going on.
Challenges, chaos, uncertainty, it's normal. Waiting for perfect calm means you're basically waiting forever.
And the people who make things happen, this perspective says they start now, amidst the mess.
Right. It's about making this moment, this imperfect moment, good enough to just begin, even with shaky hands.
And that act of beginning, it actually starts to shape who you are. Confidence, discipline, bravery, they're not things you just get.
You build them through action.
That's the idea. You build them by doing. Every time you act, despite the fear, you're reinforcing. I'm the kind of person who does this.
That really connects back to wanting to feel more capable, more knowledgeable. You become that by doing the learning, trying the things.
It's a positive feedback loop. Action builds belief. Belief makes the next action slightly easier.
No, it's also real that sometimes, people around you might not get it. They might not cheer you on.
Yeah, the material tackles that too. Validating your dreams, even if others don't see them clearly.
That's so key. Because sometimes people minimize your goals, right? Yeah. Maybe because it makes them uncomfortable.
Could be. Seeing you step out might highlight where they feel stuck. It's not always malicious, but it happens.
And the message here is, you don't have to shrink your dreams to fit their comfort zone.
Exactly. You don't need to justify wanting what you want. Your goals are allowed to be big to feel right for you.
Trust that inner nudge, that thing that keeps calling you, even if it feels scary. That fear often means it's important. It's growth.
And speaking of growth, it's worth remembering how much you've already handled.
Right. The material gives this great reminder of our own capability.
So think about it. Heartbreaks, losses, tough times, anxiety. You've navigated stuff before, you're still here.
That grounds you, doesn't it? It shows your resilience.
The text literally says, you are so much more capable than you give yourself credit for. It's a powerful affirmation.
So the focus isn't on being perfect or knowing everything. It's just begin.
And use that fear, maybe. Reframe it. Instead of a stop sign, see it as fuel.
Yeah, like fear shows you where the edge of your current comfort zone is, where expansion can happen.
So when that feeling comes up, maybe the thought isn't, oh no, danger, but okay, good, this means I'm stretching.
It doesn't mean it's the wrong path. Often it means you're finally on a path that leads somewhere new. Just gotta acknowledge it, breathe, and take a step.
And maybe think about who you're doing it for. There's this cool idea about doing it for your future self.
Oh, I like that. Explain that a bit more.
Imagine the version of you maybe a year, 5 years down the line. They've grown, they've learned because you took these scary steps today. And picture that future, you looking back and being grateful, thanking you for being brave enough to start.
That future self only exists if you act now. Wow, that's motivating.
It shifts the focus, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Choosing progress over waiting for perfect, betting on yourself.
But okay, what about doubt? That little voice saying, who do you think you are? That definitely comes up.
Oh, totally. And the material says that's actually normal, expected even, especially when you're doing something meaningful.
So doubt isn't a stop sign either. It's more like a checkpoint.
Yeah, maybe a sign that growth is happening, like turbulence when a plane climbs higher. It means you're moving out of the familiar.
Even the most successful people feel doubt, right? They just don't let it paralyze them.
Exactly. They move with it. It's there, but it doesn't get the final say.
And you don't need to make these massive, life-altering leaps all at once. Small starts are powerful.
Yes, this is so encouraging. If the big goal feels overwhelming, just focus on the very first tiny step.
Like sending one email, writing one paragraph, meditating for 5 minutes.
Those small, consistent actions, that's where the real momentum builds. Think of water carving stone, tiny drops, huge impact over time.
It makes it feel manageable and takes away the pressure of having it all figured out from day one.
Which is another myth, right? The myth of having it all figured out.
Yeah. We look at others, especially online, and think they have some secret map.
But the reality, everyone's kind of making it up as they go along, figuring things out through trial and error.
So the key isn't knowing everything beforehand.
Nope. It's being willing to experiment, willing to maybe fail, learn from it, and adjust. That's the real courage.
Being okay with not being perfect right away, which is hard.
It is hard. And often that fear gets really loud right before something big happens, a breakthrough.
Like right before you hit send on that proposal or walk on stage.
Exactly. That intense anxiety. The materials suggest it's fear reacting because it senses growth is imminent. You're about to level up.
Comfort zones feel safe, but they don't lead anywhere new. Growth is uncomfortable.
So maybe next time fear screams extra loud, it's a sign you're actually really close to something important.
Breathe through it, show up anyway, see what's on the other side.
And, you know, for anyone listening who feels like maybe they've missed the boat on something, the message is strong. It's never too late.
That's huge, because society sometimes puts these weird timelines on things.
Right. But life isn't a race. There's no deadline for finding purpose or reinventing yourself. Think of all the people who started amazing things later in life.
Colonel Sanders, Julia Child, loads of examples.
Exactly. Your timeline is yours. Feeling behind, let that go.
Yeah.
Today is always the right day to start something new.
Okay, and one last big hurdle. Worrying what other people think. Letting go of the need to be liked.
This one's tough. Fear of judgment, fear of failure being public, fear of not getting support.
It can stop you cold. But the reality is, you can't please everyone. Some people just won't get your vision.
And trying to win them over, it's exhausting and often means compromising your truth.
So the advice is, focus on being authentic, living your life.
Yeah. It's more powerful, more sustainable than chasing approval. Don't dim your light just because it makes someone else squint.
Wow. Okay, so pulling it all together, the core message seems to be, fear is normal when you're stretching, when you're doing something that matters.
Totally normal. Yeah. But it doesn't have to be a full stop.
The key is to, notice it. Understand maybe why it's there.
Yeah, see it as a signal. And then consciously choose to act anyway.
And for you listening, remember that getting that knowledge, those insights you want, they're often just past that edge of comfort.
Don't wait to feel perfectly ready. Just start exploring, start learning, even if it feels, a little bit scary.
So here's a final thought to maybe chew on. Where in your life might you be mistaking comfort for real contentment?
Ooh, good question.
What's one small, maybe slightly intimidating step you could take, like today or tomorrow, towards something that feels more meaningful, even if the full path isn't clear yet?
Thank you for diving deep with us into all of this. We really hope you'll mull over these ideas and see how they might spark something for your own journey.
Thanks for watching Dive English Zone. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like, drop a comment below, and hit that subscribe button so you won't miss any of our upcoming lessons. See you in the next one.